Whether it's learning about earnings estimates, exploring the Zacks Rank, or adding to your financial toolkit, get the education and resources to help you become a more successful investor here on Investing the Zacks Way. This week we're discussing investing styles in relation to the Zacks Rank. Who better to fill us in on that than our editor-at-large, Steve Reitmeister. He joins us once again. So Steve, what in particular now? We say investing styles in relation to the Zacks Rank, but what specifically about it? Because I've heard you say many times that the Zacks Rank works well in conjunction with nearly all stock picking strategies.
Yes.
And so which strategies or investment styles actually are we referring to?
Yeah, normally we break down investing into four main camps in investing. I'm going to put up a little slide here to help me out. When we think about investing styles, we can group into these categories. Aggressive growth, we can think about growth in income or with blue chip or conservative style investing. Momentum and technical analysis, charting would certainly fit in there, and value investing. And those are the main camps. Now, there are some folks who fit into a fifth camp, which is having no strategy whatsoever.
That would be me.
and generally the no strategy is the worst strategy of them all. But most things can be lumped into here. So today we're going to give a brief overview of each of the strategies and how the Zacks Rank can be beneficial to that. And then the coming weeks we're going to go into each one of these individually, talk about how you can apply the Zacks Rank and earnings estimates to each of the different styles, some of the free and premium resources that are available to folks to make best use of it.
You don't have a strategy for money in the mattress at all?
No, just keep loading it in there.
All right, so why does this work well for such a diverse group of investing styles?
Yeah, the way I look at it is that we've talked about how earnings is the most at the centerpiece of what investing is all about. You know, at the end of the day, all stock price movements can be traced back to earnings.
Right.
Because if we're buying shares in companies, then we're buying partial ownership in a company. If you're the owner of a company, you're most interested in the earnings because that's what you're going to be taking home with you. And so if earnings is at the foundation of it, it's kind of like flour is the foundation of baking. Okay? Right, and almost everything you bake is going to have flour. I say almost everything, right? And now it's a matter of what you do with that flour. How much sugar, what kind of fruits and nuts and flavorings are going to add to it.
Yeah.
Right, so there's different styles or different flavors that you can make, but at its foundation is still flour. Okay, earnings and flour, the same thing. Okay, and so the Zacks Rank, with its basis in earnings and earnings estimates, works well hand in hand with all these other investment styles and gives people the best base, foundation, fundamental perspective in which to look for those stocks.
And that's a good analogy. I think people can really get their mind around that. So let's get started with the review of the styles.
Okay.
Tell us first how the Zacks Rank works for aggressive growth investing.
Right. When we think of aggressive growth investing, we're normally talking about companies that are experiencing phenomenal earnings growth, like 20, 30, 40 plus per year earnings growth rates. A lot of small cap and mid cap companies fit into that realm. And we've done surveys in the past. This is the most popular of the investing styles because it's the sexiest. You know, it's like so attractive to get on board young upstart companies that are just growing at a phenomenal rate. The difficulty in investing in this group is that a lot of people jump on board. We can think about the early days for like a Google, and that they just kept knocking out their earnings surprises and earnings estimates kept going higher. And more people got on the bandwagon. The stock went from 80 all the way up to 700. The difficulty is the more people get on board, the more the PE gets expanded, the more expectations get expanded. The way the Zacks Rank and earnings estimates work most beneficial for these folks is that at some point it just can't hold up those earnings estimates. It just can't keep growing at the same phenomenal rate. Once the earnings start slowing down, the stock will start to fold in on itself. The PE will start collapsing and the premium will be taken out. Earnings estimates in the Zacks Rank give you the best way to take a look at when is that party over. And you can get out within the first week of knowing that information, take your profits and walk to the sidelines and move into a different stock where the other folks are going to hold on and ride that thing down, unfortunately, a long way. So that's how the Zacks Rank is beneficial there.
All right, what about applying it to the growth and income category of investing?
Right, growth and income, another word for that is buy and hold, and you think of large cap companies with very steady earnings, a little bit of dividend yield, and how do you quantify how you get into some of these companies? Because you hear things like, I love their great management team and they have excellent products and things of that nature, but really when you fold it all together, we are talking about earnings, that these companies create a steady flow of earnings. You think like a Johnson & Johnson, right? Just steady as she goes. The problem with buy and hold investing is that people want to buy these stocks and wake up a year or two from now hoping that there's a pot of money sitting out there. But unfortunately, the world is moving too fast, and especially at times like these, you can't just wait a year or two and see what happens. You do need to stay on top of your companies and monitor that things are going well and that the earnings continue to be stable. Zacks Rank and earnings estimates is the best way to take the temperature of these buy and hold companies to make sure that earnings are stable. So here again, making sure that your companies have a Zacks Rank of 3 or higher ensures that the earnings outlook is still healthy. Once it slips into a Zacks Rank of 4 or 5, which are the sell categories, you absolutely want to be moving out of these stocks no matter how much profit you made in the past, no matter how great you feel about the management team, because probably the bad times will continue and you'll see your profits or slip away and go into losses.
All right. Now tell us, if you would, about the Zacks Rank's application for momentum or technical analysis investing, which seems kind of at the opposite end of the spectrum from the growth and income.
Yeah, the growth and income and most of the others are much more what we call the fundamental investing camps, and momentum and technical analysis, right, is taking a look at price charts and the trends, and they would seem to be antithetical to each other. But even the most stalwart technical investor would say that they would, all things being equal, they would rather have the fundamentals and the technicals looking right. So for these kind of investors, the Zacks Rank is a great way to quickly ensure that the earnings outlook, that the fundamentals are in good shape, and then take a look at the technical picture. So it's a great starting point for these folks. So a momentum investor, what are they trying to take a look at? Stocks that are rising in price on rising volume.
Right.
Okay, so what would make it rise in price and rise in volume? Well, increased investor attention. Increased investor attention because earnings are looking the healthiest, and because the institutions are jumping on board, and we've talked about that plenty on some other video pieces. So here again, it's a great precursor or great cause and effect behind the movement of these stocks that would give a technical investor interest to take a look at those stocks. As far as, technical analysis is such a big school. There's so many different flavors, but I will say a lot of chart patterns are based upon what we call consolidation periods. So you have a stock that's moving up, it gets into a consolidation period where it's kind of going nowhere for a little bit of time, and then it's going to spring higher. Here again, you want one that's fundamentally sound, a good reason for it to spring higher because its earnings outlook is good. And here again, technical analyst type investor, the chartist, would want to make sure the Zacks Rank was in a 1 or 2 to be in the best camp, and then overlay their charts analysis on that.
All right. And last but not least, we don't want to forget about value investors. How does the Zacks Rank apply to value investing?
Yeah, I have to admit, this is my camp. This is the one that's the favorite for me. And what is a value investor trying to say? That the company is worth more than what it's presently trading at. And so this is one of the easiest ones to hook into the Zacks Rank, because we constantly talk about earnings estimates feed fair valuation models. Earnings estimates go up, the fair value for a stock goes up. So obviously, if the fair value for these companies is higher than what's trading at today, us value guys, let's get on board. One of the beauties of the Zacks Rank and its concentration on earnings estimates is we get some of the earliest indications of which stocks have this appealing attribute whose fair value is going higher, which should be attracting more investors in the near future. One thing I'll add on to it, so many forms of value investing are not very timely. We get into beaten down stocks sometimes, and the money languishes in these stocks because it takes a while for the rest of the market to see it. The beauty of doing it with the Zacks Rank is that you're usually going to be buying value stocks that are also timely, and you're going to see that return on investment faster, which creates a higher net profit at the end of the year.
Interesting. Near the beginning of this conversation, you talked about the 4 main investing styles. Is there a difference between investing styles and trading styles?
Yeah, I take a look at it as a matter of time horizon. Trading, I take a look as an activity that's in between, say, 1 day and 3 months in length. So very active in and out of stocks, and you're trying to take advantage of very short-term movements. Investing, I guess, starts the 3 months, but really we think of it more as a 6 to 12 month plus activity. So when we were talking about these styles today, I was concentrating a little more on its application for investing, so the longer time horizon. But the reality is that each form that I was talking about, each style, the aggressive growth and the value, can all be applied to trading, can be done in a short time frame. Don't have as much time to talk about that right now, but our product, the Zacks Method for Trading, is an excellent education course about understanding its application for trading.
All right. Is there any form of investing or trading for which the Zacks Rank has not proven effective?
Yeah, the one that stands out is day trading, which is not taking a look at fundamentals, is not taking a look at technicals. It's just looking at the fastest way to remove money from your wallet. So if you want to do day trading, the Zacks Rank's not going to be able to help you out with that. Unfortunately, if you don't know the odds, I believe it's only 1 in 4, 1 in 5 day traders actually make a profit at it. Very tricky game. Be mindful of that.
Yeah, that is an interesting statistic for everybody to keep in mind. Well, thank you, Steve. Remember now that in the weeks ahead, Steve is going to be going in depth on each of these 4 investing styles and how you can use the Zacks Rank in order to bolster each of the investing styles. You're going to get actionable tips as well as a wealth of resource information that you can use to profit from these ideas. And so we encourage you to bookmark the site or mark it on your calendar or whatever it takes to see these subsequent episodes. With Steve Reitmeister, Investing the Zacks Way, I'm Terry Ruffalo.